Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're embarking on a pretty profound inquiry into the absolute philosophical limits of artificial intelligence. We're going to explore what we're calling the algorithm of the untranslatable, essentially the things that machines will simply never be able to say. I want us to kind of stand at the edge of human history today, acting almost as archivists, guarding the fragile, irreplaceable secrets of our language. We're going to look really closely at the blind spots of automatic translation, and in doing so, I think we're going to reveal the very essence of the human soul.
So here's a question to get us started. If machines can translate all our words, why does it feel like we've completely lost the meaning? Think about it. We live in this era where large language models process just unimaginable volumes of data, and they do it at lightning speed. You feed a machine a massive block of text, and boom, it spits out a translation instantly. But here's the thing. Speed is not depth, not even close. We're actively trading the slow, profound essence of genuine human understanding for rapid-fire data output. And honestly, it feels like something absolutely vital, something deeply human, is just slipping right through the digital cracks.
Section 1. The illusion of understanding. Software efficiency does not equal true comprehension.
Okay, let's break this down. Artificial intelligence operates entirely on cold, mathematical precision and strict linear logic. And don't get me wrong, it is an incredible feat of compiling vast amounts of data. But when you contrast that with human intuition, the difference is staggering. Our intuition isn't linear at all. It's warm, it carries this rich sensory nuance, and it literally thrives in complex ambiguity. We have this terrible habit of falsely equating a machine's ability to perfectly organize words with genuine cognitive comprehension, but raw data processing falls incredibly, almost tragically, short of actually grasping human consciousness. Section 2. The perfume of forgotten languages. Testing algorithmic limits on extinct dialects. When researchers actually test AI on obscure, ancient, or even completely extinct dialects, a really stark contrast emerges. A machine gives you mathematical precision. You get the speed, the raw data, and the strict literal meaning. But what is completely, entirely lost is the poetic nuance, the slowness, the deep intuition, and that artisanal flavor, what we like to call the perfume of the words. The algorithm gives you the dictionary definition, sure, but it aggressively strips away the intent, the fragile culture, and the historical flavor of the language itself.
To really put this into perspective, take a look at ancient poetry, like a text in ancient Occitan. On one hand, you have this cold, totally literal machine translation, and on the other, you have a deeply nuanced human interpretation. Untranslatable poetry holds this tragic, breathtaking beauty that's just packed with cultural fragility and historical weight. The AI? It looks at that Occitan poem and reduces it to unfeeling, sterile data. It translates the mechanics perfectly, absolutely perfectly, but it remains entirely blind to the actual poetry.
Section 3. Intuition, our invisible mycorrhizae, the biological metaphor of human thought.
Now, I want to pivot for a second to biology, specifically something called a mycorrhizal network. This is an invisible underground fungal system that connects plant roots, and it enables incredibly complex, slow, and divergent symbiotic exchanges. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates how genuine human intuition actually works. Human thought doesn't operate like some sterile computer server in a cold room. It operates much more like a forest floor. It grows slowly, it connects invisibly, and it functions beneath the surface in profoundly complex ways. If you think about it, the secret life of trees and their sprawling, divergent root structures actually represent a far superior model for human cognition than artificial neural networks ever could. The whole digital model relies on fast, linear, cold calculation. But organic intuition, just like that hidden forest root network, is beautifully slow. It's divergent, and it is deeply, inextricably connected to its environment. Plant biology perfectly reflects our own invisible, entirely uncodable human relationships. Think about how we actually communicate with each other. Our linguistic exchanges are filled with slow growth and these wild, divergent thinking structures. When we speak, there's a deep, symbiotic intuition happening in the background that simply cannot be mapped by a line of Python code. We are organic beings, and our language is fundamentally organic.
Section 4. The beauty of imperfection. Why software errors reveal our irreplaceable humanity. I love this quote. System errors betray an absence of true semantic understanding. The machine's flaw is the profound proof of our singularity. When a machine makes a totally bizarre translation error, it's not just a software glitch. It's a glaring spotlight shining right on the massive gap between raw data compilation and true intuitive depth. A machine's complete failure to capture nuance is actually the ultimate proof of our irreplaceable human consciousness. The error itself is the absolute evidence of our singularity.
Consider for a moment the tactile trace left behind by old scribes. When an ancient scribe made a slight error in calligraphy using imperfect natural inks, that physical mark carried the immortal weight of human history and emotion. It meant something. Now contrast that with today's cold, fleeting, completely ephemeral digital databases. The preservation of human knowledge has always been a beautifully flawed process, and it's exactly those imperfect traces that make it so distinctly human.
Section 5. The resonant silence of words. The sacred space of thought between the lines.
There's this beautiful French concept called silence sonore, which translates to resonant silence. It refers to the meaningful, soundless space between words. Because when humans communicate, half of what we're really saying is found in what is intentionally left unsaid, right? It is an absolutely essential component of poetry, and really of language itself. It's this sacred space of human thought, this highly ambiguous void full of deep intention. And here's the kicker. It is completely, utterly unreadable by machines. An algorithm simply cannot compile silence.
And these right here are AI's ultimate linguistic blind spots. It cannot read that resonant silence, it completely misses the intentional loss of words, it ignores cultural fragility, and it entirely fails to grasp human ambiguity. And we need to understand this isn't just a design flaw that's going to be fixed in the next software update. It is an impenetrable boundary. Our human ambiguity is our final, beautiful defense against total digital modeling and algorithmic reduction.
Section 6. What legacy against machines? Preserving human knowledge from digital oblivion. So, to all the curious minds and digital ethics researchers exploring this with me today, I believe we hold a profound moral responsibility in the face of all this mechanization. We have to actively defend the depth of human thought against the sheer, overwhelming speed of cold digital storage. The eternal legacy of immaterial human transmission, the complex stories passed down through generations and fragile, ancient manuscripts, that simply cannot be replaced by a lifeless digital archive.
Language is not a mere compilation of data. It is an artisanal craft, carrying the unique flavors of human history, much like the delicate perfume of an ancient kitchen. I think that captures it perfectly. Preserving human knowledge is an incredibly intimate craft. Words have a scent, they have a flavor, they carry a history. When we hand all our translation and communication over to cold algorithms, we lose the aroma of that ancient kitchen. We lose the art itself.
Which leaves us with one incredibly vital question to ponder. As we build these massive machines to process all our data, what irreplaceable human secrets are we actively choosing to forget? The very next time you find yourself marveling at the sheer speed of an algorithm, take just a moment to appreciate the slow, profound, and beautifully flawed nature of your own human intuition. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and whatever you do, don't let the machine have the last word.